I don't know it. Episode what? 122? Does that sound right?
124 of Seddy Bimco, Part 2 to
close.
Revenge.
Yeah.
Continuing our Turi. What happens every week? Tour the 50 nifty United States. And this week you chose it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say, or you want me to say?
Indiana's Beware of the Clowns. Clowns spelled with a K.
From 2015. So this is weird. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I got an age-old question.
Of course you do, Tim.
Chill.
Yeah. Oh, so it's going to be a high question.
Did they ever get revenge on the farmer who would always show them Chicken Run on movie night, knowing full well that their favorite Mel Gibson movie is The Passion of the Christ? Yeah. Also, Stop Animation sends the chickens into a blind rage.
Oh,
that too.
Wow, that's why. What was the state we did recently? They had twice as many chickens as people. Delaware. Yeah. No stop motion being produced in that state.
It's Seddy Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
Seddy Bimco.
Yeah.
Part 2, The Revenge.
All right.
I'm Tim Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, we're doing intros. And I'm George O'Connor, New York Times best-selling author and illustrator, creator of the series Olympians and Asgardians.
Ooh, you got a big list. Yeah, I do New Yorker cartoons and some kids' books and some graphic novels, and I was once a clue on Jeopardy!
I was going to say, feel free to include Jeopardy! Tim, this week, who was the person, where were you in the world when you found out, and who was the person that texted you to tell you?
Well,
I think they should replace the age-old question, because, Tim, I've been meaning to address something with you. Age-old question is just a big wet fart at the beginning of every episode.
It is not.
It always is. It's like
that chicken joke was quality.
No, it was awful. It's like it's you at the height of your most like. So, folks, you need to know this about Tim. Every single week, Friday comes, Tim's like, "I'm going to the bar." No, he just goes out to his local bar with a bunch of bananas and his sketchbook, and he writes these jokes.
And I buy fruit too.
And you buy fruit because you have to have the bananas. Yeah, but like these jokes.
No, I go out with a bunch of bananas anyway.
What is this? It has nothing to do with revenge.
Yes,
Have we
does.
mentioned that's the no?
Did the chickens get revenge on that farmer? Their favorite movie was Passion of the Christ, but he shows them Chicken Run. That's borderline racist.
You're anti-Catholic.
But before every show, George, or do you got something more about that? Oh,
nah, I'm done with my tirade. Yeah, you did. You talked over me.
We got to do our age-old. We do a wild card question.
This is your producer, Miss Lee. I have some legal papers for you.
Wait, producer Miss Lee just hand me a paper.
It says she's leaving you.
Producer Miss Lee. There's two different people.
Oh, okay.
No.
What's it say, Tim?
I don't understand. This says we are legally we are no longer allowed to do the wild card question where we used to ask what character from this movie would do something crazy.
How come?
Some legal papers filed by this podcast called Bat and Spider. Did you ever hear of it? They said they invented this question when they started their podcast.
Wait, so if we are introducing the concept of I mean, that's unfortunate. That's been a beloved part of our podcast. Most of our mail we get is about that. We get no mail. Mm-hmm. I was looking today. I was trying to put an end to the age-old questions, right? So I typed in age-old question just to see if there was any hint of what I could look up. You know there is a podcast called Age-Old Question?
What?
That's their whole shtick. You know what I'm going to do after we finish recording today?
Write them a letter.
I write them
legal action. Legal action. When did they come on the air?
Sue us. I don't know. Let's see.
Sue us so they can stop me.
Then you'll have to come up with another way of getting in more Tim jokes. Age-old question podcast. Let's see.
Well, shout out to them. I don't know who they are. Unless
it's
they're
a music-based podcast. Yeah. Each episode begins with a question. Like, why do people hate the Eagles? Because they suck.
Oh, I'm going to listen to this. I like the quality of what it sounds like. I didn't know that. All right. They may sue us.
Yeah, hopefully they sue us, and hopefully that puts an end to age-old questions.
Because we were... our wild card question was going to become our whole show, just like them.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna
we're just
become.
gonna be called. We're gonna be running wild with Tim and George.
So,
Folks,
well,
we're
anyway,
instituting changes here. We introduced ourselves. Some of you have probably listened for months, and you have no idea who we are.
Right.
Yep, our
Right.
names sound exactly. Our voices sound exactly the same, so you can't tell us apart.
They still don't know who we are.
No, I'm George. Unless I
don't
say
know.
something that's not funny, in which case I am occasional guest host Kevin Kaplasto.
Yes. So I guess we're doing something new at the end of the show that Miss Lee will give us. So if you want to find out what it is,
Oh, I don't like that.
Hang out.
Wait, I just realized I put too much power in your hands. You already kind of snuck in age-old question through the back door. It just
Miss
gradually
Lee
became a thing.
did this.
No, Miss Lee, we all know she doesn't exist.
Well, maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Do you want to talk about Indiana or anything happened?
Yeah, let's get in.
You
So-
want to complain about?
I wanted to talk about this because we didn't actually say this. We create revenge-based sequels for movies that never had any.
That too.
We're currently on a tour of the 50 nifty United States, dropping off at Indiana today with, as you heard, Beware of the Clowns. I got a lot to say about the movie. I got a lot to say about Indiana. So
You got your
Indiana facts. Yep.
We do this
population.
too while we're doing this.
Here's the population of Indiana. It is 6.8 million people.
Ooh,
Smaller
that's
than New York
less
City.
than New York City's people.
Yep. Yeah.
Peoples.
It's like the 17th largest, most populous state in the country. Its largest city is Indianapolis. And Indiana, do you know what it means?
Yes, I read that literally for our white man name for Indians.
Well, yeah,
because
it
it was
means
full of Indians.
It means Indian land. So it's a very ironically named state
Yeah.
because there's like only something like 8,000 Native Americans living in it still.
Yes.
Indianapolis is a combination of Indiana and Greek, so it means city of the land of Indians. Again, very ironic.
Yep.
There's no very, very Indians there. But if you were to ask an Indianan what they call themselves, they wouldn't say an Indianan. They say a Hoosier.
Yep, because that
you know
famous
what
movie, Hoosiers, starring Gene Hackman. And the sequel,
that's why.
Who's
Yeah.
Your Daddy? That's the sequel, George.
That sucks. I thought the sequel was Superman 2. Yeah, nobody knows what Hoosier stands for, like why it came about. I think that's funny to name take your entire state identity for something that nobody's really sure where it comes from.
I read a listing. You want me to tell you?
What'd you hear?
Hoosier is believed to be a term for backwoodsman or rough countryman or a Sasquatch or old man Crenshaw who shot his foot off in a boating accident.
I read that too, but the operative word is thought to be. Nobody's really sure. I think a Hoosier might be a hose bag. You know what a hose bag is, right, Tim? Like guys say, like, oh, I was playing hockey and I caught a puck to my hose bag. I don't know why I chose hockey. You know, you're like, oh, that must have hurt. You're like, yeah, right in the Hoosier.
It sounds like a Canadian term.
Yeah, it does. The whole thing, actually, you know why I went with hockey? Because it reminded me of like the way they call each other hosers up there.
Yeah. It's all about
And it's got to be
hoses.
connected, right? A hoser. What else do I got about it? It's the 19th state, which was joined the Union December 11th, 1816. This is fun. The state fossil is the mastodon, which is ironic because most people in that state don't believe in evolution.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I figured you'd see it. So I skipped it
yeah.
over. I said, George will do this. I'm not going to do George's work.
It's one of its nicknames is it's the mother of vice presidents because it has 6 vice presidents that were born there, including Dan Quayle and what's his name? Mike Pence.
Mike Pence. Oof.
So out of those 6 vice presidents, one of them was almost killed by their president. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
It's Indiana, though. It's not actually named after the wrong term for Native Americans. It's actually named after Indiana Jones' dog.
Oh, I thought it was named after the race.
No, they named the dog Indiana.
I know, but I thought the state was also named after the race, I think.
The the Indy 500?
Not the Indianapolis 500. This is a race that takes place in Indiana, the Indiana Nopolis 500. They get confused. It's the Indiana-Napolis 500 here. The other one is the Indianapolis 500.
Wow. If you're still listening after that confusing explanation, please write to us at Seddy Bimco with an E at the end at gmail.com.
Not Indianapolis, which is the name of the ship that they went down on when they were delivering the...
How did I not come up with an Indianapolis?
atomic
I'm
bomb.
disappointed in myself. I would say like there's about 30 episodes of Seddy Bimco where we do a variation on the Indianapolis U.S. Indianapolis speech.
Yes.
3,000 clowns went in the water.
Yes.
Only 600 came out.
Don't steal my
Took the
idea.
rest. Let's see. Did you read about popcorn in Indiana?
Oh, no.
I got wildly.
What did it do?
So apparently, this is one of the world's leading sources of popcorn is in Indiana. But the sources I was looking at, and I wasn't being super careful, wildly had huge different claims. I read between 20 to 90% of the world's popcorn is grown in Indiana.
Wow.
That's a pretty wide
That's
stretch. 20 to 90%. Yeah, somebody.
Too much. It's too much.
I feel like 20% is probably right because you know what? I've had popcorn like when I was in India, and I'm betting they weren't getting that from fucking Indianapolis.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's
You
just too
know,
much.
this is a word. This is something I know. The word in Persian for popcorn, you know what it translates as?
What?
Elephant farts.
It does not.
It does because apparently elephant farts smell just like popcorn.
My teacher said I had. No, I'm not going to brag about myself.
What did your teacher say? She said you were a clue on Jeopardy. This children's book illustrator smells like elephant farts or popcorn, as it's known.
He said my sense of humor was as dry as a popcorn fart. That's what he said.
Did they really say that?
He said that. I was at his office when I was picking up my grades. His young daughter was there. That's why he said it too. I think she was a teenager. She's like, "This he's got."
Were you waggling your eyebrows at her suggestively? Like, it's pretty dry. Huh?
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
why
I'm
are you
assuming
telling
you were
your daughter
younger
this?
than this at that point.
Yeah, but it was college classes.
Yep.
Ain't no lead singer of Red Hots. Come on.
Anthony Kiedis, famed
People
for
know.
datings. I don't know. I feel like people need to remind you of these things.
Okay.
Let's see. First elevator was, believe it or not,
God.
apparently not in Indianapolis.
No, it
It
wasn't.
was in Tippecanoe Place Restaurant in South Bend. Nobody's really sure when it was put in, but I heard between 1906 or 1909 or possibly as early as 1889.
Nice. 1889, yeah. Was
Right?
it steam powered
Right.
like all these other ones you talk about?
It probably
Or
just
was
pushed
it
like a...
powered by popcorn. That's what's powered
I
by.
think popcorn, probably. And streetcars, the mule-pulled ones were installed in Indianapolis in 1864. Those were phased out for electric ones in 1890. And then the whole thing was just scrapped so they could ruin the whole city with cars in 1953.
Well,
And yeah. And my final thing, the most famous cryptid of Indianapolis is something called the Gully Wumpus.
what? Gully? That's from Sesame Street. Isn't that Big
Is
Bird's
it?
friend?
No, that's
that
Snuffleupagus.
no one believes in. Yeah, that's him.
You know they all know he exists now, right?
I know. I heard that.
Yeah.
I was still watching. I
Were
just
you
quit.
still?
Quit like last year. Yeah.
You're like, I don't feel like Grover's being represented properly anymore.
No. I only have one
All right.
little thing that I always
Let's
do.
see.
I look at their flag.
Oh,
But you
I
don't steal
saw
my
their
thing.
flag, and I wanted to see what you thought of it.
It's like the Olympic flame with stars shooting out of it. It's a bit
Yeah, it's
presumptuous.
radiating lines that represent stuff, like the
Stuff.
forward thinking spirit of Indianans, the confusion over what the word Hoosier means,
Yeah,
the amount of some of them are popcorn kernels if you look closely.
that's true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yep.
You figured it out.
Yep. There's a mastodon bone. They're like, we don't believe in this is real, though. We think it's just one of those rock elephants that all the movie stars are talking about.
Oh, and usually, George,
Yeah.
on this show, Seddy Bimco, we place our movies date-wise as to how far ahead or behind Star Wars it came out.
I
This
bet
one
you the math is
so-
too challenging for you to do this one. Too
I'm gonna
many
say-
numbers you got to carry.
This is too far from Star Wars. I'm very upset. So I'm going to tell you that it came out 11 years after The Passion of the Christ, just for this
Ooh,
episode.
I like that that's your second go-to. I'll tell you this, Tim. I bet you the man who made this movie wasn't even alive when Star Wars was in theaters.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
So I do want to say before I forget,
Yes.
we usually watch old movies and have fun looking at old movies that have old special effects and
Yeah.
laugh about it. I just want to say to the person who made this film, if it's a small movie, maybe he'll listen to this podcast. I mean no malice if I laugh at something that it's not a perfect movie. I'm just saying we're not here to be mean to you if you're listening. So you made a movie. I never did. Movies are hard to make. I mean, you made
That's
a
true.
movie.
Also, this dude made it like 1 year out of film school.
Yeah.
So you had sent me a list I'm going to give a shout out to this podcast, or it's like a YouTube podcast called Blood in the Cornfields. It's some Indiana horror films and heavy metal film fans, and some Indiana horror fans and heavy metal fans. And they have a podcast. It's in their cellar, and their fans of the show are called Cellar Dwellers. And they had on the maker of Beware of the Clowns, Tim Wollack, or Wollack, Wollak, on an episode. And I listened to it today. Did you listen to it?
Most of it. I was looking at it. Because I did want to say they collect a lot of physical media.
Yep.
If you looked at it. And they collect games and to open them. And prominently behind them was Trump, the game. I kept looking at it.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yes. He had a game in the 80s. I could see. It looks like you didn't open that. It's a collector's item. Yeah, people collect games. They don't open them. I don't know if you know that. Because I saw the show about a man who collected everything Batman. And that was the one thing he didn't have was an unopened Batman game from the 89 movie. And he wanted it.
I would think that wouldn't be that hard to find. But I guess
no, people bought them and opened them. Nobody keeps it. He wants to unopen. Do you think
there's any difference between Trump the game and Batman the game? They're both guys who live in the city. They both fight crime, and
they're both wealthy.
Both wealthy. Yeah.
Have no children.
Able to do backflips. They both wear masks.
They both have
Trump's is just a mask of orange paint he uses to disguise his old man face, but
they both have a old manservant. Trump's is called Giuliani.
They both have a young boy servant that goes with them. Trump's is called some kid at Epstein Island. This is good. Yeah. So anyway, Blood in the Cornfields had on Tim Wollack as a guest, and listening to it, it was actually super interesting. A couple things I'll mention. He did do this film like 1 year out of school. He's currently working on a new film, which is available. Actually, I think he just finished it. You can buy it at on his socials, called Prince's Spooky. He proclaims he does not like to be a director. He went to school for screenwriting. He wants to be a screenwriter. He wrote this film and was like, well, the way to get it made is to do it myself. He does not enjoy directing. It does seem like it's one of the hardest jobs in the world. You got to make sure everything happens.
Yep. You did a lot of research. Thank you for shouting
I did,
out.
and there was some cool stuff that I found out about him. So first thing I did was I typed his name into Google. Google is a search engine, Tim.
I couldn't find
it.
Oh, I use this thing called web crawler.
Web crawler. You just yell out the window like, somebody tell me this info, please.
Yes.
I'll give you ducats. So I look at Tim Wollack, and I don't know anything about this guy at this point. There's there's a Facebook page called The Art of Tim Wollack. I'm like, I'm going to go there. And you go there, and it's just all pictures of Bozo the Clown. And I'm like, this must be the same guy. But you know what?
It wasn't.
It's his dad.
Oh, his dad is a clown.
His father, I'm a little uncertain of this. His father is a huge Bozo the Clown fan. He mentions in the interview several times his father is a pretty well-known sculptor. His best known work is he sculpted busts of all the different actors and L. Frank Baum from Wizard of Oz, and he gets invited every year to the Ozfest. Yeah,
up in Skaneateles, New York.
I don't know where it is. I would assume it's in Kansas, right?
There's a couple, but they have one where he also lived in upstate New York.
That's true. I did know that about him. Yes. So, but this guy is actually a really good sculptor. So he sculpted, like on his Facebook page, he sculpted a picture of like a sculpture of Bozo the Clown, and then went to some local event where the guy who played Bozo the Clown was there and made him sign its head. And there's all these photos of Tim Wollack Sr. dressed up as Bozo the Clown. And like I don't know if it's a Halloween thing or if he was maybe Bozo for a while. Yeah. But so clowns run deep in this family.
Yeah.
He also mentions Tim Wollack, the filmmaker, the young gentleman, mentions he has an uncle who works in comics who did the posters for these movies. Oh. Tim, do you know who the uncle is?
Is it the same? It's Uncle Roy Thomas.
John Byrne.
You're kidding me.
I am kidding you. No, it's a guy named Ken Wollack.
Ken Wollack.
For those of you who don't know, John Byrne is best known probably for doing a run on the X-Men. Don't cut it out. Because the fun fact about John Byrne is my wife wouldn't let me mention him for a while. It was an actual rule in the house. She's like, you talk about John Byrne entirely too much. You were not allowed to mention him.
Oh, I'm getting a paper from producer Miss Lee. So it's not allowed to talk about legal actions is being taken by John Byrne. We cannot talk about him anymore.
Classic John Byrne action. John Byrne, creator of Alpha Flight. Yep. So I think that's all I got about Tim Wollack. I hope he's listening, and if he is, congratulations. He himself spoke in the interview that he's like, this is a movie I did when I was 1 year at school. Like, it's not perfect. There's some stuff that's really well done. There's some stuff that is lesser well done. So should we talk about the movie?
Yeah.
Should I give a synopsis?
Okay.
Yeah. In the small town of Santa Mara, which I never actually determined was meant to be in Indiana or not, even though this film was filmed there, clowns are banned.
Yep.
You're not allowed to dress like a clown. You're allowed to engage in clown-like behavior because years before there was a series of famous clown homicides. Unfortunately, in the modern day, clown homicides are beginning again, and there's a deep, dark secret involved.
It's just like Footloose, where no dancing is allowed.
Yeah, there's no dancing. Kevin Bacon's in it.
I'm just saying it's similar.
Yeah.
You've seen that, right?
I don't think I've seen Footloose since that was like a new movie.
No, me either. I was going to ask you how it held up. Thought you were a big fan.
Nope.
You got those Footloose
any movie with
action
Kenny
figures
Loggins songs
behind
in
you.
it. No, they don't make Footloose action figures. What would they do? They dance?
Yes. No, they're not allowed to dance.
Exactly. Oh,
they're bound.
That's good.
Their feet are bound.
Their feet are bound and they're tied to chairs with bullet holes in the back of their head. So this is kind of set like in a weird alternate universe, I guess. So basically it opens up and there's a protest happening at town hall.
Yes,
I honestly can't remember if they're for or anti-clown at this
No,
point.
they're anti. They think the police are being racist about it. They want to have clown makeup. It's like
there
pigs versus the clowns. Like
it is, but let me just say this. This is what's a little confusing about this movie. It seems like at time being a clown is depicted as almost like it is like a hereditary genetic condition. I know it's like being like Italian or Greek or black or something. It seems to be something that you inherit and you can't help but be. But
that's
then
what
at
the
times,
sheriff thinks.
Well, also like one of the main character's fathers, when we see him, he's just hanging around his house with like a clown nose.
I know. Well, it's a horror comedy. That is the category.
It's a little.
So,
I will say this. It's just a little inconsistent. Like, are clowns? Is that a choice? Because I mean, listening to Mr. Wollack speaking about this film, it is very much a choice. That characters are being drafted into becoming like killer clowns.
It's a metaphor, George.
For
choice and being bigoted. It's just metaphor. Fun metaphor.
I like when people say something's a metaphor because you can say that about everything. Like, Tim, your age-old questions.
It's a metaphor.
They're just a metaphor
for a joke.
For what? Just a metaphor. They're not actually jokes. They're metaphors for jokes. So they're having this big protest. There is a guy whose name is like Gabby or something who runs the hottest blog in town.
Yes, the African American.
Did you catch the little joke to Walking Dead?
No, I missed
it. So one of the main characters is the sheriff, and the sheriff, like many small town sheriffs, look exactly like Rick Grimes from Walking Dead. And he's sitting there. He yells at the guy who is the podcaster, "Get out of there!" And he yells, "Carl, get out of there too!" And there's a little boy who looks exactly like Carl from The Walking Dead who runs away.
I missed it.
I was like, oh. And that was a real signal to me, like the movie we were dealing with. I'm like, I see what you did there.
That's funny.
So, he says, so there was a murder years ago, and that's why clowns are banned.
And they kind of make it like John Wayne Gacy. He's like the guy.
Oh, he's straight up John Wayne Gacy when you see
people in the basement under the house.
Yeah. He has a business. It's just John Wayne Gacy.
Oh, I got to add, George, that you can get your lottery tickets online now. That'll end well. That'll be good.
Is that really an ad?
That's an ad. Get your lottery tickets online.
Are you a shut-in who has trouble with gambling? Do we have good news for you?
I'm not lying. You didn't get that one?
No. What were my ads? I get ads for something called Success Academy.
I do too. Yeah.
Do you get those?
Too.
Yeah.
So they're like,
and the guy's like, there's
we
libraries in every classroom. I want to put my kids there and leave them there forever.
Oh no, I get the one that's like, you're a great success. We want you to come to our academy. That's my.
Oh, I don't get that one. No. Nobody ever calls me a success. That's why.
Well,
they say you really suck. Success. That sucked. Sorry.
That sucks. The sheriff gets a phone call. He's like, that kid's hanging out with your daughter, Lisa. That's where we're going, right?
Oh, Tim, we actually forgot. The movie actually opens with a clown killing a woman in the woods.
Oh, yes. I thought that too.
Yeah.
And I'll just let you go.
He gets a call first that they found a dead lady in the woods. And he goes,
Right.
and the clown has put what I thought was like pie on her face after he killed her. Mm-hmm. But I guess it was makeup because they're like, why is she done up like a clown? Did she do it?
Yep.
Or did somebody do it? He's like, I don't know, Skippy. Let's say that's the
that
other guy's name.
Oh, all these actors, they don't have links. I mean, they did fine. I'm just saying.
Not only did they not have links, like if you look at the IMDb cast, it is so haphazard the order they're up there.
I know. I had to find the leads
Like,
at the bottom.
Like the first listed character is literally a woman with pie in face. I'm like, is that really your main character?
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of odd. So there's the sheriff. Let's just go over the characters really quickly. There is the sheriff who was involved in the apprehension of the John Wayne Gacy LA Clown years ago. He has two daughters.
Deputy. Well, he's got a deputy.
There's the deputy
comedy
who is
relief.
like, yeah, I guess he's comedy relief. He's also for the sheriff to talk to, and like he's for us to understand bits because he asked the sheriff questions like, "Why do we ban all the clowns? Something bad happened years ago, Skippy." The sheriff has two daughters, one of whom
twins. It's one daughter.
Are they twins? I didn't catch that.
You didn't catch that? They're never on screen at the same time.
Wait a second.
Because they argue, and her boyfriend's like, I thought twins got along and loved each other.
Is it the same actor?
Oh, yeah.
Tim and Tim Wollack, if you're listening, I apologize I didn't pick up on this. I thought there was a scene where they were having an argument in the room about their respective boyfriends.
Never on screen, same time. I don't
Because
believe.
one daughter has a boyfriend who is just like, he's just a good for nothing. She's just there for the lay.
He's a hipster.
The other twin is in love with this guy who unfortunately is the son of a clown.
Yes, that's our tension.
I think his name is Harris. Yeah.
He's Bobby. His father, I wrote it down somewhere. Is Mr. Harris?
Right.
But he's Bobby.
I think it's Harris.
He's dating Lisa, who is the good twin, I would say.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Because
the other twin's like, gonna tell on you dating the son of a clown. So
yeah.
That's Joy.
And then she has
her. Wait, what's her name?
Joy? I don't know, because IMDb failed me.
Lisa and Joy, yes. They don't like each other.
Wouldn't it be cool if their names were Lisa and their boyfriends' names were Cult Jam? Do you get that reference? Is that too recent for you?
Of course. Yeah. So that was in Young Sheldon.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you realize these are twins that should get along because they don't get along.
Is this a list?
They don't get along.
Don't.
Why don't these twins get along, George?
Because everybody knows in all cases of twins, there's one good one and one evil one.
Right. Lisa is the good one. So here's a list of reasons they don't get along.
Okay.
Lisa.
I don't think they're really twins. I think you're just using this as an excuse.
They're twins. Lisa, she likes Arnold, and Joy likes Danny DeVito. Get that?
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, what do they have to do with each other?
And Joy likes Danny DeVito. There's a movie called Twins, George.
What's this movie about?
Shut up. So the second reason, Lisa likes Mary-Kate Olsen, and Joy likes.
These are all twins.
Joy likes both of the Grady sisters from The Shining.
I don't know who the Grady sisters are.
From The Shining, the two little girls.
Okay, nice.
So this is 2015, remember? So Lisa, she's going to vote for Hillary Clinton, and Joy is going to vote for Jill Stein. Jill Stein.
Joy is the evil sister.
She is. Thank you. Thank you. Let me do that.
Where were we before you derailed that with your twin talk?
Well, the one twin, Lisa, is in a farmyard hanging out with her boyfriend, and they're kissing and stuff. He's showing her how salmon swim downstream.
Which I will say, this was a cute scene.
Yeah, it was a cute scene.
He was explaining, it was kind of like a metaphor for leaving your small town and stuff. Like, I thought this was well done. I'm also going to say this, and this is not really, Mr. Wollack talks about this. Like, the performances are kind of widely varying here. Like, I would say her boyfriend is a pretty good actor. There's a couple of characters we haven't been introduced yet. The sheriff's pretty good. I think the girl, I guess, playing the twins, not great.
Double duty she had, George.
But that's probably why. She probably did do a very good performance, but it was split in two, so she was diluted.
Well, I liked her okay.
Yeah. Then they get a call. The sheriff is like, bad news, Sheriff. We saw your daughter, Lisa, the good twin, heading out of town with Harris, that clown boy. And he's like,
Bobby.
I'm going to go give him a world of trouble. Drives up to Bobby Harris. And he drives up to Bobby Harris and the good twin at the house. And
no, it's a farm. There's a barn. They're out hanging out in the barnyard.
Forbids
which is
them from
fine.
seeing each other. Yeah.
But they're okay with that because I looked this up. Indiana, it's not even the top 10 states where you see a Sasquatch like out in the woods. I was thinking it was. It's not.
They're all seeing gollywumpuses.
Yep. So farmyard, which is fine.
Farmyard.
Just setting the
but he
scene
chases
for
him
people.
off because he won't date a clown.
Nope.
We follow the boyfriend home where he speaks to his father about this clown racism. And this is where it's really weird because his father is like, just like a kind of like, actually he seemed younger than us. I was going to say middle-aged, but he seemed like he was maybe 30.
Well,
and he's sitting there watching TV and he's got clown makeup on.
it's got cookies on his stomach. That's my
Man,
touch.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Tim, because it looked to me like he had a plate with a big fucking turd on this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I didn't notice that.
I think it was a cookie, but it was like an upsetting looking cookie.
Maybe
and like
it
he's
was
just this dirty clown watching TV in like this kind of ramshackle house. I'm like, I could see him being a scat muncher.
But he can't be a clown, George. It's illegal in this town. Which I thought,
so,
why don't you move to another town? But
or why don't you, I don't know, take the clown makeup off?
well, he's a clown.
Later,
that's all he wants to be, George. Do you understand
later,
passion?
they show him again, and he doesn't have the clown nose on.
He took it off while talking.
Yeah, so
Well,
I don't know. Like he doesn't seem to be. He actually mentions too in their discussion. He and his son have this heart to heart. He's like, yeah, I followed the calling to become a clown, so that's a sign that it's actually a calling. But he also doesn't work as a clown anymore. So just on his spare time, despite the fact that this community's been imagine, Tim, just to put this in context, you live in John Wayne Gacy's hometown.
Yeah.
What he did comes out. And then you just are this individual who's not actually a clown, but just anymore. You're not employed as a clown.
No.
But you just kind of hang around that town dressed as a clown all the time. That's kind of aggressive.
Well,
right?
He's got a right to be a clown. Come on.
He does, but it's kind of like, I get why people don't like him. Yeah. It's like, oh my God. You know what this movie was almost called?
What?
He reveals this because the clowns are a metaphor for racism. This movie's working title, and I'm not even kidding, was Ku Klux Klan.
Oh, did I miss that in the interview? I missed part of the video. I did watch some of it.
Yeah. Yeah, he mentions it several times later.
It would have got more attention that way.
But what this guy is doing, what the father is doing, is akin to you live in a town which has been scarred by the terrible actions of the Ku Klux Klan.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, I'm just wearing a white sheet on my head because I like it. Yeah. You see, like the dad's a problem.
It didn't show what he was watching. Do you think he was watching Benny Hill or was he watching reruns of Hill Street Blues? What do you think?
It's got to be Hill. How come?
Benny Hill?
Yeah, but why are they both Hills? Am I missing a joke here?
You're asking too many questions. Yeah.
Okay. I figured he was watching Indiana Jones.
Okay. Why?
Yep.
All right.
Because this was filmed in Indiana.
I think he was watching the India-Annapolis 500.
You're probably right.
There's a lot of hills in that race. A lot of hills in that race.
What
the
happened?
cars go up and over the hills in that race.
I'm glad you got Hills in there again. What happens next after he speaks to his dad?
Oh, he just says, I'm sad. The sheriff won't let me date his daughter. And I think he says, well, you should talk to him and tell him how you feel. They just have a talk.
That's true. Yeah.
Then we cut to the woods where there's a bonfire and there's a whole bunch of clowns around a bonfire.
A whole bunch of clowns. One of the clowns is wearing a crown. Did you catch what that character's name was?
King Clown.
Yep.
Right?
King Clown.
You know what it's like, George? You know what it looked like? It looked like an insane clown posse in the woods. Why could he?
Oh, Tim, I just realized why all this week you were sending Insane Clown Posse videos to us because of this movie.
They called themselves the ICP because they used to be called the Intercity Posse. They were formed in 1989 in Detroit, consisting of Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope. They have 2 platinum and 5 gold albums.
I thought they were called the ICP because when they urinated, it was very cold.
Well, we'll get into that. ICP. Right. I got it. You started. Yeah. They run around the fire. Do they say anything? They're just talking about how they're going to...
They laugh a lot, and he says something about, I think he's going to take revenge.
Yes.
There is a hint that there's something happened back in the day that was tied in with the original John Wayne Gacy sort of clown that needs to be avenged. Yeah.
And then an old man, he drives out in the woods for no reason at all. He finds a dead woman.
Yep.
And the sheriff does say, what are you doing out here? And he's like, well, I don't know. I'm getting out of here.
Looking for a gollywampus.
Yes. I'm looking for a gollywampus.
What does Golly want this? Golly, if I know.
I'm going to go on a boat trip with my gun. Just trying to find that lake.
So this starts, the murders are happening again by clowns, and they dress up the victims as clowns after they
Because then we go to Joy, the bad twin. She's like having sex with her boyfriend.
Yep.
Who's like a hipster from Brooklyn. Which is... I
guess.
He looks like I got a man bun.
He's a beard. Yeah.
Yep. Got a beard. He's got beard wax. He's twisted his mustache into the big, long, twisty things like they do here. Because when he says goodbye to her, he turns his head and slaps her in the face with it. She's all upset. She's like, get out, my father's coming. That's what she's...
And she makes him climb out the window.
And his big mustache wax gets stuck in the window when she puts it down and everything. Yeah. With me.
Tim is staring at me beseechingly, like trying to help me build off this. Where is this going?
He goes to his car.
Yep.
He doesn't even notice.
And what happens in the car?
There's an Insane Clown Posse in the car behind him.
There's one of the clown guys, and he puts a knife to his throat.
Like,
you know what the clowns actually said around the bonfire? They said they have to get revenge. Don't they say specifically have to get revenge on the sheriff? Should we mention that specifically? On his family? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they kidnap that guy. And then I think she gets a text to come out to the car. And then she goes out to the car, the bad sister, and she gets kidnapped too, right? Isn't that what happens?
Well, you're jumping ahead, but basically, I mean, that's the plot. Let me see. Yeah. And then Lisa has been out. Lisa's been out with Bobby. Lisa. Yep. And she comes home and they find the house is empty and like, I'm scared. The door's open.
She's like, it's not right. The door's open. Mm-hmm. They go in, they see that there's like been stuff roughed up.
She's like, do they see any clown stuff? I forgot.
No, not so anything, but they figure out for some reason, because I think of the texts or something.
Oh, they find a clown glove shoved into the couch.
Is that what it is?
And they're like, oh, J.D. Vance has been. Gotcha, J.D.
Take that, J.D. Vance, you dirty couch fucker. I know that while this is happening, like the sheriff comes home and they're like, she says to her boyfriend, you better leave. Because they realize that the clowns have kidnapped the other sister. But they're like, they figure he would be so mad that he would just, shoot the son.
He runs away.
I mean, the boyfriend. So he goes to leave. He just walks right out the front door, which the cop is right there. I'm like, what are you, the dumbest man in the world? Go out the back door, you fucking dolt.
Well, his truck's there.
Yeah, that was also. I mean, the whole thing was just probably.
His license plate is, Bobby KLOWN. It's easy to spot. It's his dad's truck.
Yeah,
that's how is in your face he is. He's clown on his license plate.
He's wearing his big squeaky shoes.
Yes, got a big nose.
So, yeah, what happens then?
Well, then we see the Insane Clown Posse in the woods again, George.
Yep, and they have the one sister. You're really going to go with this Insane Clown Posse.
Well, it's too bad he couldn't use them, but that's copyright because that's like the perfect. I wish he'd made fun of it once. I don't know if you get in trouble. I don't know all the rules.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like this was much more of a, and he said as much in the interview I saw on Blood in the Cornfields. This was a loving tribute to previous Seddy Bimco film, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Mm-hmm. Hence the reason they're spelled with K's. Yeah, we see where the clowns are, and there's the boyfriend is there, the bad boyfriend and the bad twin,
and the sheriff's. We do have a scene with the sheriff and the deputy having a news conference because the word leaked that someone was killed and painted like a clown.
Yeah, the guy in the woods who found the woman who's like, why are you in the woods? He's like, oh. So he must have revealed. So they have a thing like there are murders happening.
12 people show up.
Is it true the murder victims were dressed up as clowns? Yes.
And then deputy tried to be a little bit funny. He kept touching the sheriff's hand. Did you notice that? And he said, oh, sorry, I touched your hand.
Yeah, that was weird.
I like that bit.
I did too, though.
They need to take it all the way.
Then there was a bit when they're driving out to something and the deputy's like, so tell me, what happened really with that clown? So we get a flashback.
Oh, yeah.
The sheriff comes into the house where he has discovered where John Wayne Gacy has been using his place of business to lure people to kill them. Mm-hmm. And he busts in and he gets on top of John Wayne Gacy and he's just
beats him to death.
Punching him in the face, beats him to death. And then he turns around. There's a little kid there.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, like 8, 9, 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's like, what are you doing to my daddy?
Right.
And he stares at him and the deputy's like, what did you do with the kid? He's like, I just let him wander off into the woods.
I know.
He's like, wait, what? What?
Yes, what?
So yeah, so the big dark secret, the reason why King Clown is looking for revenge. King Clown was the son of this John Wayne Gacy character saw his dad beaten to death by the sheriff in front of him, which, you know, I can't really fault the sheriff for that. He was John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
But I can fault the sheriff for just letting the kid wander into the woods to be apparently raised by bears.
Yeah. Send him to an asylum.
So now it's many years later. So now the kid has grown up. He's become King Clown. He wears a crown on his head. And he has recruited many people in town to his cause. They have become killer clowns like himself. These are not killer clowns like aliens, but they are people who commit murder in mirth-filled ways. So we have a montage of them going and just killing random people
to town
in town.
And start killing people, putting pies in faces. That one pie burned away the woman's skin, which was the only horror bit in the movie.
I didn't actually interpret it. I interpret it as because like there's just this woman sitting going, oh, and a clown comes up and puts a pie in her face and just rubbing it in her face for like a really long time. I thought he rubbed it away, but watching the interview, it is corrosive.
Oh, you
know how he
details.
did that? I learned some shit. So he made that special effect. His father had a sculpture of a skull, Tim Wollack Sr., and he took that skull and put a blonde wig on it and some gory stuff, and he rubbed it on his face, and then he made it. The woman's face gets dissolved by the pie.
Sounds suspicious. He was a sculpture of a skull.
Yeah, his father's fucking John.
We've seen these movies. I'm thinking of Haunted.
Tim Wollack's real name is Tim Gacy. That's all I'm saying. There is another person. There's a woman, like a big clown, breaks into the house and starts eating her.
Yep. Takes a bite out of her arm.
You know how that part was done?
With bologna.
Yep. He put like bologna or ham on her and then put like fake blood under it. So the guy ripped. The guy was eating lunch meat off her arm.
Pimento loaf.
There's one clown that chokes the guy with a hoop.
Right? Oh no, it's an inflatable balloon. I thought because I thought, it's funny.
Maybe it is.
That doesn't work, but we're being funny.
Yeah, they try to. So the clowns are killing people.
The headline the next day is "Insane Clown Posse on the loose."
Oh, Tim,
come on!
Clowning around with Tim. That should be the name of your podcast.
Did you know that feeling a sense of home and belonging? Violent J, he formed a gang called the Insane Posse. And, he ended up in prison for 90 days for death threats and robbery and violating his probation. And this experience convinced him to reduce his involvement in gang life. And he started doing professional wrestling.
I was just going to say, Tim, do you know that I've seen the Insane Clown Posse wrestle multiple times?
Whoa, wrestle?
Yep. Yeah.
Whoa.
They would wrestle with part of WCW back in the, I guess this is early 2000s.
You guys and your
wrestling. A couple times I went to see WCW and I got to see the Insane Clown Posse wrestle. I guess that makes me a juggalo by association because I've seen Insane Clown Posse. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I know nothing about wrestling.
Let's see. The clowns kill the boyfriend, the bad boyfriend.
Yeah, that's shocking. People just start dying. They cut off his head, I think, with an axe. Oh, they do hit someone. Oh, there's a man watching porn that the clowns come in.
That scene was
axe him in the mouth.
I learned from listening to the thing that was the same guy who played the cannibal clown.
Oh, okay.
There's a very terrible scene of him. We luckily don't see the actual point of contact, but we see his hand furiously pumping, and we hear upsetting meat slapping noises as he's watching porn. A clown comes in, kills him, then sees what he's watching as the pornography, goes, "You sicko," and leaves. So what do you think, Tim? Let's do a list. What do you think was on that? What sort of porn do you think that was?
Well, first he was using the piece of bologna that he ate off the arm. That's what he was slapping for the sound effect for the.
Okay, that makes sense. Even though he was not the same character anymore.
Well, what kind of porn?
Tim? What porn was it?
What kind of porn? Probably something to do with Oreos. That's what real sickos are into. Oreo porn.
Yeah,
they like to
mega stuff. Fucking Oreos.
Yep. Triple stuff.
That's a good list.
Lubricate the inside. Well, you're supposed to have another one. Come on.
Yours killed.
Give me a break.
Your first one was such a turd. It killed all forward momentum.
Okay. So they put our heroes go out there, right? Oh no.
Go out where?
The police figure out where the clowns are. They're headed out there, and here's where something.
Yep.
Obviously, there was a mistake made, but they do make a joke about it. When the police are out in the woods looking for the clowns, it's daytime. I don't know if you noticed. Then we go back to Lisa and Bobby. It's nighttime. It's supposed to be the same time. They're like, oh, where's the sheriff? Oh, he's out in the woods.
Oh, were they doing that shoot day for night thing? And it just
no,
I didn't actually.
They just had their shots mixed up because when they get out to the woods, they did make a joke. They said, oh, it got dark quick out here. But so
that's
I was like,
pretty good. Good for them.
You made a joke out of it.
How I don't remember. So yeah, the sheriff goes out there, but how does the sheriff know where they are? How does
I forget. There's some
Lisa,
clue.
Oh, also, the bad twin gets killed at this point.
Yeah, once she's brought out there with her boyfriend, and I was like shocked.
No,
that's later. That's when the sheriff gets there because it's a trick. He goes to get her, and they kill her. The sheriff.
How do they
the
kill her?
sheriff sees her tied up. Seems like
she
they
was
cut her
tied up.
head off, but they didn't show it. You know, they didn't have the money to show a head being chopped off. I thought I saw.
But they did show heads get cut off other scenes.
Did they?
I don't know.
I never saw a head fall off.
There was definitely a scene of a head falling off. I think there was the guy who gets the axe in the mouth, and then there's a guy working in his car, and they cut off his head.
Oh, let's see. The clowns. Oh, they message the cop. Oh, they tell Lisa, and she doesn't want to tell the cops. But somehow the cops find out. So
yeah, I don't know.
They go out there because it's when he gets out there, and it's a trap, and it's truly an insane clown posse out in the woods. You know.
Oh, can we also say that before they kill the bad twin, there's a scene of King Clown having sex with a lady clown, and they make her watch, and she vomits.
Well, we'll get there. We're not there yet.
Oh, we're not there. My favorite part is when they squeeze the clown lady's boobs. It honks.
Yes, there is one bit of nudity. One female clown gets topless, and he squeezes her boobs, and they honk.
And he goes, honk.
And she's pleasuring him, and then he has to get hit in the face with a pie to finish, as they say.
Yep. He says something weird, too. Yeah.
I think he says, give me a pie, baby.
Is that what he says?
Yep.
All right.
Did you say that? It was a true insane clown posse in the woods. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, you already said that. Yep. I'm not going to laugh at that joke, but yeah.
After a change in musical styles in the early 1990s, the group decided it needed a new name, and that's how they became Insane Clown Posse. Several names were considered. When did they start wearing the
makeup, Tim?
Well, when they were wrestling. They tried out a couple different names, George. You want to hear these names?
Ichthyosaurs,
You're going to try to run away.
Catch predators.
No. One was irate clown pachyderms.
That's pretty close to Insane Clown Posse. I think you shouldn't have had clown twice.
No, irreconcilable clown puns. That was the other one.
That's pretty good.
Inside clown pampers.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, what's inside clown's pampers?
It's funny.
Why, Tim? Why so much clowns? You couldn't think of any other words to see?
Insane.
How about carrots?
Because it's insane clown. They're clowns. I'm sticking with the clown theme, George. It's a clown movie. But
then you had ones that weren't clown. You're being very inconsistent.
And then IHOP clown pancakes. That's one. That's it.
That one's interesting because it has a further international house of pancakes, clown pancakes. I like that.
Well, our hero girl, Lisa, she gets put in a dog cage. And that's when she watches the clown have sex with the topless girl and throws up.
Shit, I thought that was the other sister who has to watch that.
No, this is Lisa, the good one. She lives. The other one's dead. They have clowns playing cards in a tent with the head of the deputy because they killed him. And one clown called Fatty eats the cards. That's not how you play cards.
That's the same one who eats the lady's leg.
Mm-hmm. But they're in a tiny tent, so that was good. That was like it was big on the inside, just like a Volkswagen, George. Just like a Volkswagen.
Yeah, like there's a scene where like many people get out of this tent. So no offense, Mr. Wollack, if you're listening, you kind of half-assed that effect.
Oh,
come on, it's true. They showed like 3 clowns getting out. Like they kept cutting away. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing. Let's just cut to the showdown.
Well, okay, it's more of an insane clown posse, George.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's insane clown posse.
Do you know super fans are called juggalos? You know this?
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah, I said I may be a juggalo by association.
They're called juggalettes. Or juggala in Spanish. Am I saying that right?
Oh, probably jugala.
Jugala. Okay.
Yeah. And what people like you and I are called juggle these nuts.
Yes.
Yep.
You got it. Take it away.
Well, there's a final showdown where Lisa, the good girl, her boyfriend is trying to save the day. The boyfriend had stopped and got an inspirational talk from his dad on the way there. His dad no longer wearing a nose. Mm-hmm. The boyfriend's about to be killed in this showdown with King Clown and his minions and the Insane Clown Posse. The sheriff shows up, and the sheriff has a big fight with the King Clown.
Oh yeah, very bloody.
And it's very bloody, and it ends with him picking up a gun that had fallen on the floor, stick it in the sheriff's head, and blowing in the the clown's
King
head.
Clown, yeah.
And King Clown's head and blowing the back of his head out. Pretty good special effect, honestly.
Yeah. We thought maybe he killed Bobby, but Bobby's alive.
Yep, Bobby's alive. Somehow the sheriff dies, and again, I couldn't tell how.
Yeah, he already got stabbed or something. There was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it was like a scene where like they're fighting, and like I guess he gets stabbed, but like you kind of see like the thing where like the hand does the blow, and the guy's like, oh, but we didn't see like a close up. If we did, I missed it.
I thought Bobby's dad would show up and be in the death scene, like have his revenge.
That guy sucks. Yeah. They set the tent that's full of clowns on fire,
and they just stay there.
That's pretty good. They just hear him laughing, and then they start screaming.
That was good. I like that joke. That's it. The cops find Joy. They kill her. Yeah, he's attacked by an Insane Clown Posse. Did you know in 1997 they had a feud with Eminem? It's a long story, so look it up yourself. Eminem had a big party, and he said that all these people be here, including Insane Clown Posse. And then they went and said, "You going to come?" Like, well, no, you didn't ask us first before putting our names on your effing poster. And they had a big, long feud.
I'm just going to say, if I'm Eminem and I want to invite the Insane Clown Posse somewhere, I just hire some guys to put in some makeup and say it's the Insane Clown Posse. No one's going to be able to tell. No one's going to go up and ask them, like, look really closely, be like, wait a second.
It'd fool me. They would fool me.
Ends with the movie ends with a press conference where the one surviving cop in town is like, there's a great loss of life. It was a big massacre. We lost both the sheriff and the deputy. Now I'm the only cop. Bow before me. We see Lisa, the good twin, is there with her boyfriend. She's looking. They're both pretty scratched up, looking pretty shell shocked. I mean, she's lost her whole family that night.
Yep.
And as they're leaving the press conference, there's two people in the audience who are kind of blowing them kisses and making faces. And we realize it's two of the clowns outside of makeup. They still live, and their horrors will presumably still continue.
Yes, it's Toots, the one who got topless.
It was a squeaky boob clown.
I think her name is Toots.
Toots?
But I'm sorry. There's no pictures on IMDb. Apologies to everyone. So it was hard. It was hard. No Wikipedia page.
No Wikipedia page. Really, no place to find a synopsis of this film except for now us.
Oh, George?
Or watching the movie itself. Yeah.
I'm ending this movie with an Indiana fact. It all comes together.
Indiana fact. Okay. Oh, it's all going to tie together.
After a show in Indianapolis, the Insane Clown Posse's the tour bus, they stopped at a Waffle House in Greenfield, Indiana, where a customer began to harass them, and a fight broke out between the customer and all the band's members. And they had to plead guilty to misdemeanor disorderly conduct charges, and they were fined $200 each. There you go.
How many people were in there?
I don't know how many customers, but I don't know. Don't know, George.
It just reminded me. It just reminded me of, like, when you mentioned going on tour. It just reminded me, like, the other day was the 20th anniversary of the Dave Matthews Band incident.
Oh, yeah, I know that incident.
You know about that, right?
We don't.
And I was just checking,
on
like,
the show.
Is it possible that happened in Indiana? And I just looked at it. It happened in Chicago, and I was sad. It would have been good.
It would have been all tied together.
Yeah, it would have been like, I would have believed in God if that had happened.
This is your producer, Miss Lee. I have some more legal papers for you.
Letter from,
another letter from producer Miss Lee.
So instead of a wild card question, George, I've been instructed by our lawyers that I...
Yep. Oh, you. Yeah, it's all about Tim, everybody.
From now on, I'm going to tell you very briefly. From now on, I'm just going to, because I like this, going to tell you in what way the movie is like Star Wars.
Okay.
Or what Star Wars ripped off from it if it came out before Star Wars. But this movie, you know how this movie's like Star Wars, George?
Let me think for a second.
No more thinking. You're out of time, sucker. No more time for thinking.
Okay.
Been talking about Insane Clown Posse all night. And you're like, who are they?
I know who they are. I've seen them wrestle.
Anyway. All right. This movie, it's like Star Wars. You know the director of Star Wars, George Lucas, since he made Star Wars, he went back and tinkered with everything with CG. Well, this director, Tim Wollack, the reason it's like Star Wars, he went back and tinkered with 2015's Beware of the Clowns, just like George Lucas did. You know what he did? He went back to the scene where the clown gets topless. He went back, he enhanced her breasts and increased the time and extended the scene about 5 minutes. That's what he did.
Wow, that's weird because the scene was only seconds long.
I know. That's what you can do with CG now.
That's pretty cool.
It's much better now.
All right.
Ta-da.
That's your thing, huh?
That's my thing from now on. So it won't be a long
I can say my
thing.
thing. Oh, wait. Hold on, Tim.
Yeah?
I just heard a knock at the door.
Okay.
Let me go see. Let me go walk over.
Jesus.
This is your producer, Miss Lee. I have some legal papers for you.
Mrs. Lee, what are you doing here? A piece of paper? Okay, I'll go
Put
read
some
it.
pants on, George.
All right, I'm back. I have a piece of paper for producer Mrs. Lee. It says I should do the same thing, but with the 1986 fantasy family film Labyrinth.
All right.
Yep.
movie.
Clearly, Labyrinth came out before this.
Never saw it. I saw the first 5 minutes and I turned it off.
Hold on a second. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. I never saw it.
About well, we've talked about Labyrinth. It's come up in the past on an episode of Seddy Bimco. I don't remember which one, but I talked about my sexual awakening was to Labyrinth. Because when I was a little boy watching this, I saw young Jennifer Connelly. And I was like, that lady's really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So in much the same way that I had my sexual awakening seeing a young Jennifer Connelly in Labyrinth.
You sure it wasn't the Muppets?
I'm pretty
You
sure
saw?
it wasn't one of the Muppets.
I know there's Muppets in those
Yep.
movies, right?
There are Muppets.
Okay.
Although, are they Muppets? They're from Jim Henson's Creature Shop. I think you're being you're reductionist on Jim Henson's works. I think somebody had a sexual awakening at Toots the Clown.
Yeah. Who?
So that's what it has similarly. The way some people like me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You're being meta.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's too
but
much.
Think about it. No, think about it, Tim.
No, I'm not thinking about that.
Think about you're like a kid and like, I mean, nowadays,
I see.
when you and I were children, it was very hard to see naked people.
Right.
You had to get a subscription to National Geographic or take your old Conan comics and erase Red Sonja's bikini and redraw them on.
We just had the adult magazine that had not adult magazine, but that movie magazine that had a clip of the female duck in Howard the Duck, and that's all we had to look at. And
I mean, honestly, you would be excited seeing the topless duck, and it was so hard.
It was.
Nowadays, kids could just type in the most unspeakable. They could type in "rim ram Jim job" on the internet and to see things.
Don't type that.
But for some reason, don't do that, folks. Somewhere there's some kid who was watching this movie, soaring past all the scenes of violence and and just clown violence, and they saw a clown take her top off, revealing her honking clown breasts, and was like, this awoke something in me.
Rim Ram Jim Jab. That if you type that in, the police are going to be at your house quick.
So quick.
So this segment's much shorter.
Yep. It still stinks though, so we're still doing a terrible job with it. Let's see if this ever picks up steam. You stunk. All right, you want to go first? Craft your revenge sequel.
Yes.
Revenge. One of us will die. One of us will
It's like Star Wars goes. Anyway, we'll get the hang of it.
No, we won't.
Play my music.
Play your music.
Bobby and Lisa, they saw those two clowns at the end of the movie, we said, right? They're evil. They're on their way to do evil. And Bobby and Lisa are going to go after those clowns and get revenge. You already have a question.
Yes. Is it fair to call them clowns since they were not actually dressed up in clown makeup at the time?
They were in disguise. They had human makeup over their clown makeup.
I like it. Like
Just
the way
like the
that Jack
Joker.
Nicholson's Joker did. I always thought that was a pretty cool special effect. I'm like, he's clearly wiping flesh-colored makeup over his white face.
Cool.
Yeah.
So they say goodbye to Bobby's dad, Father Jenkins, the clown. He's sitting there sad with cookies on his chest, just like he was in the movie. And after a few weeks...
Let's say generously they're cookies, but we know they're dookies.
I didn't see that. I really didn't see that.
It just looked to me. I don't think it really was a lump of shit, but I'm like, what is that? That's shit.
Maybe it was a Baby Ruth bar, right?
Tim Wollack, if you could actually, if you're listening to this and you can actually shed some light up, please write to us at SeddyBimco with an E at the end, gmail.com. We would love to have you on to talk about this movie.
It was a Baby Ruth bar floating in a bowl of water as a tribute to Caddyshack.
Oh, nice.
You didn't notice.
Yeah. It's weird. There was no water there, but...
I said a bowl of water. You couldn't see it.
Okay.
So...
Oh, how about this? How about the whole scene was filmed underwater?
It was. It was all underwater.
Yeah. He was holding his breath the whole time.
So, after Bobby and Lisa go off to get revenge, the king of all clowns, not the insane clown, but the official king general of clowns, he comes to visit Father Jenkins.
Not King Clown from this movie.
Nope. This
is a different clown. Have we ever seen this clown before?
Nope. His name is
Okay.
King Clatsimus Maximus. He's the king of real clowns.
Okay.
And he tells Jenkins that he needs to get his clown gear on and do one last job for him. You see, Bobby and Lisa, they got on a boat and they went up the Ohio River, which is in Indiana, runs through Indiana.
Who's Jenkins?
That's his last
Oh,
name.
is that Bobby?
Mr. Jenkins' dad. I found it in
Oh, I thought it was Harris. Okay.
Jenkins. Jenkins is the clown
Jenkins.
father. And Bobby Jenkins is his kid. He says it appears that Bobby and Lisa got in a boat. They went up the Ohio River, and they followed the trail of those two surviving clowns, and they followed it to a big Juggalo convention where the insane Juggalo followed them to a big Juggalo convention where the Insane Clown Posse is performing all summer. And it appears Bobby went native. He's wearing clown makeup, calls himself Colonel Corny Kurtz, and the Juggaloos worship him like a god. So Mr. Jenkins puts on his clown makeup.
The horror.
He becomes Janky Bells, that's his name.
Janky Bells.
He goes up the river in full clown makeup, and even though that it's illegal and people on the shore are shooting at him because he's a clown, it's illegal all
Does he run
along
into
the river.
Robert Duvall at one point who goes, I love the smell of grease paint in the morning. It smells like victory.
He meets up with the clown Robert Duckhorn Duvall. And
oh shit, I stole your joke.
No,
Sorry.
he didn't. It's bad.
Kinda.
It's terrible. No, he agrees to help him once he knows he's into the smell of cream pies baking in the morning. I just went a different way. That's grease paint's
Worse.
better.
Yep, it is.
Jakey goes up the stream, but he's captured by Corny Kurtz's clown soldiers, because they've taken over the town, and they throw pie in his face and lock him in a big Volkswagen all by himself. That's an insult to a clown. Giant Volkswagen. All to one clown. He distracts the Juggalos with his
It's an
animal
insult because the
balloons.
car's so big and clowns are like, we need small clowns with cars with lots of us in there. I
Yep.
like that. Okay.
He eventually gets out because the Juggalos
Juggalos.
are easily bribed by animal balloons. And he hits Bobby Kurtz in the face with a pie and steals his nose while the Juggalos are playing. I mean, while the Insane Clown Posse is playing. And they see he took Bobby's nose and they just let him leave because they think, he took the nose of a god. He takes him home. Yeah.
If you shatter the nose, is it like the killer clowns from outer space? Do they explode and die?
No, he wants his son Bobby to come home.
Oh, okay.
So he takes him home. He deprograms him, plays a lot of They Might Be Giants music, gets the Insane Clown Posse out of his head. And sadly, he never got revenge. And once they see that this guy that puts orange paint on his face win the election in 2016, they never want to put makeup on again. They become improv teachers. The movie's, Yes, and the movie's called Jug Apocalypse Now. There you go.
Jug Apocalypse.
Terrible.
Nice.
Terrible.
That was. I like that. I like how you will start off doing like a clear spoof and like you take some wild turns in there.
It's all the
makes
same
people
thing.
question. Makes people question if it's if they're even hearing the same story anymore.
It was all
They
Apocalypse
question
Now.
what anything means. No, it wasn't all.
It's the same story. Went up the river, got him.
All right.
He didn't kill him.
All right. Here's my story.
He couldn't kill his
you
own
play my
son.
music?
This is
Okay.
your producer, Miss Lee. I have some more
I'm
legal
just
papers
getting
for you.
a letter from Miss Lee that your
Miss
music.
Lee is really just.
Your music, we can't use it anymore. It seems like the podcast called the movie Mixtape. They wrote that song.
Oh
Okay,
shit!
so-
You stole music from them.
So you can do your song. I mean, you do your story, and I got to play with it.
Oh wow! Everybody, he's actually playing live.
Can you hear it?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, play,
All right.
do your story.
Once there was a man. This man had been a clown in his younger days. Those days were past, but he still wore his makeup. And he almost lost his son. There weren't a lot of jobs in Santa Mara after the big massacre. So this man, he moved to the big city. He started holding up people in alleys, outside of movie theaters. And he would ask them, did they ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? And then he'd just shoot them. And that way he revenged himself upon the moneyed upper class who were driving this country into a late period Late period. What are you in here, Tim? I would say Crusader.
What? I'm doing
Your music is distracting me. Yeah. Yeah, the dad goes to Gotham City. He shoots Bruce Wayne's parents. And, he has revenge on the rich folks because of that. And he creates Batman. The end. And
Okay.
that was good. Tim Wollack, if you're still listening, please write to us at Seddy Bimco at gmail.com. Seriously, I know nothing you heard today makes you want to contact us, but come on, we're pretty cool.
What? That's it. All gold.
Yeah, I mean, especially my bit with this. How come you decided to sing mine, actually? That was interesting.
Well, my other song is copyright me, but they're saying that that's your song they wrote a few years ago.
It's really weird. There's like, first off, we know there's 3 pieces of music. But it's weird how like all these like websites all these podcasts got so litigious. Who should we sue, Tim?
Kevin Cablasto for, we
need to sue people with money.
Oh, that's right. He
just pay us in Oreos and used VHS copies of spaghetti westerns and or Freddy Krueger films.
Oh, I will say, we have a blog.
We do.
Every week I'm going to draw a picture about my story. And maybe I'll draw some juggalo clowns. But George is very...
I would just be...
Be careful.
I'd be careful about drawing some juggalos. You might...
Get sued?
If you get their attention, they might show up and... What is that beer they drink? Or that soda?
Jolt?
No, they have a funny beer. Let me look at Juggalo beer.
Beer's not funny, George. Because they...
Fago.
In 97, they did an album for the Disney company that has a record company, and they were told to change the words and take some songs off, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
What were the words they were told to change?
Wish, upon, and star.
And what did they change them to?
I don't know, George. Yes, I am back at you.
I'm trying to help.
So what I want to say is George is very busy drawing his graphic novel.
Yep.
So if anybody wants to draw something from George's story and you send it, I will post it on our blog because we have a blog. If you want to draw something from mine, that's fine too, but there's a challenge for you.
Yeah, but you should do mine because I ain't doing it. I'm too busy drawing.
You can draw snail face, worm face. There's a lot of faces he's created.
I think slug face is one.
Curious George.
I was gonna bring worm face into this one too because as you know, I do like to go to Gotham City in my stories. But
draw one of his stories.
Yep. Yeah, do it.
Do it, and then we can get out of here. And don't sue us.
Do we have any mail, Tim?
Cablasto keeps saying he loves Chud and he's going to write. There's no letters.
The steam behind the Chud letters, like that's got to be like 2 months ago now. There's no way.
It's a popular episode.
You know who I wish would write to us, Tim?
Tim Wollack?
Our friend Chris, who doesn't listen.
Yeah, just right.
But really, I wish,
Don't listen.
if Tim Wollack, or actually, even if it's not Tim Wollack himself, anyone involved in the making of today's film, like Tim said up front, we don't normally do stuff of such recent vintage, but this one, there was something about it that spoke to me, and I really did enjoy this film.
Mm-hmm.
So, we would love to have a chance to speak with anyone involved in the making of this movie. So, if you get a hankering to speak to a couple of goofy guys, drop us a line.
Drop a line. We'll talk about trolley cars.
Drop a line. Trolley cars. We'll talk about elevators. Tim will reference Star Wars incessantly. It'll be great.
I didn't do it only once.
Yeah, but it's going to be you've actually locked in a way. Now it's every single episode. Like that's what you're so excited about.
One sentence, or I'll say nothing. Nothing to do. So next week, George, I'm going to pick.
Yep.
I could not find it on Tubi or YouTube. It may be out there, but it's on a big Prime place. I hate to mention them. They don't need advertisements. Everybody knows what I mean, right?
A big Prime place named after one-breasted warriors. So it's on there. You can watch a high quality. Listen, George, I checked. You're going to check me? I checked and double checked. It was made in Idaho. It's called The Being from 1983. Made in 81, right after Empire. Came out 83 during Return of the Jedi. I am not. The Being is 19. The Being. 83. Ooh, that looks good. That looks really good.
You see it now with the
Yeah, I was looking at a different film.
okay.
Oh, it is interesting. Yeah, because it's listed on Wikipedia as 83, but it's listed on IMDb as 81.
It was made. I already read. Made 81. Couldn't get a distributor till 83.
Martin Landau's in it.
Yep. I'm sad to
Jose
say
Ferrer?
it's like 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, but
That's pretty good.
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
That's it.
Oh my God.
What? Oh my God.
The first review on IMDb says, "Being like Chud, Secret of the Ooze."
Ooh. What do you know?
Ooh, so it's similar to Chud.
All right. Hey,
All right, everybody, join us next week.
It's September now.
Unless we get
it's cool. And next month will be like horror movies, right? Spookies.
Yeah.
Soon.
We're gonna do horror movies. But are we still sticking to our? But we're still sticking to our state tour, huh?
Oh yeah. I'm just saying. I'm excited. Next month is
I'm
scary.
just gonna say we've mostly done all horror movies too, which is better.
Okay.
We did Chud, we did Bog, we did Bear Cupcake. It's been all horror films.
But next month is horror. Is Halloween. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. Unless someone sues us. All right. We gotta go. I gotta do all this lawyer stuff. So we're gonna go.
All right. Bye, Tim.
Bye, everybody.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line. It's a party line.
Tim and I live close by to one another, but not so close by that it took producer Mrs. Lee a good amount of time to get here.
Yeah, she ran.
She arrived sweaty and out of breath, but she passed me the letter through. Let me. It says, instead of relation to Star Wars, you should say how close in time this movie was released to 2015's Beware the Clowns and what it got from it. Well, that one's pretty easy for this week, Tim.